The last statement we are going to look at is the delete statement. There are no prizes for guessing what this statement does. As I mentioned previously, you must be careful with this statement because if used incorrectly, you can end up wiping out the contents of your entire table. Don't let this put you off using the statement though. You just have to be aware of how it should be used within your programs. So let's go and have a look. So if we focus on the program again, we will create a new section for our delete statement. And as usual, I'll do the copy and paste. So I'll leave in some of the right statements and delete what we don't want. Okay, before I change anything else, let's just discuss this delete statement. And in contrast to the other SQL statements that we have looked at already, the delete statement only needs to take into account your primary key. So what I mean is, when we want to delete a record from our table, we only have to tell the system what the primary key of the record is for that record to be deleted. So in our case, all we need to do is, first of all, let's clear out our work area. So it's completely empty. Then we will fill our employee field, which forms part of our primary key, with the last record we have created. So in this example, we will just delete the one record that has the employee number of 1, 0s and a 7. Let's take a look at our table again as a reminder of our primary key. Now you can see the key is made up of two fields, the client field and our employee number. Now remember, the client field is handled automatically by the system. So our programs never need to feed our SQL statements the client field. It's all automatic. All we need to do in this case is specify the employee number that we want to delete. So let's go back to the table view and pop it to one side and back to our code. So once we specify the employee number, we then just need to create our delete statement. The syntax for the delete statement is this. We have the delete, followed by the table name, followed by the from addition, followed by our work area. So this delete statement will say delete Z employees from WA employees, and WA employees contains the table key 1 with 0s and 7 to ensure only that record identified specifically in the work area will be deleted from our table. And as per the other SQL statement, we need to check the SY sub RC field to make sure the record was deleted successfully. And we might as well leave this clear statement at the bottom. So I'll do a pretty printer, make sure it all looks good, then a check, and then we'll activate and debug. So as it stands at the moment, we have all these records in the system. This is where 07 is created. This is where 06 is modified. And we update it there and we insert it there. So what we will do is clear out 6 and 7 from the table so they get deleted. Sorry, they get created once again. Oops, I didn't do 7. Oh, maybe it's a refresh. Yep. Okay, so now we can debug. Let's stick a breakpoint on and test. Oh, 1 second, I need to reactivate. There we go. Now I can put the breakpoint on. And the code has run through to our breakpoint, so it should have created record 6 and 7 automatically for us, which it has done. And then we'll keep an eye on SY sub RC. And we'll just bring up these fields to monitor. So the clear should clear out these fields. And we'll populate the number. Now remember, this table has the 06 and the 07 records still there. We will execute this next statement. SY sub RC is still 0, so that means everything worked correctly. If we go back to our table and do a refresh, we can see 7 was deleted successfully. So then the code should carry on and just output record was deleted successfully. And there we go. How simple can it get? Now, before moving on, let's have another look at the delete statement, but use a slightly different form. We are not just restricted to filling in the table key and deleting records that way. We can also use logic to determine which records we want to delete. So for example, let's create some more code. And what we're going to do is just copy this section once again. We don't need that separate one. And we're going to write the delete statement as follows. We're going to get rid of this filling in the key, but we're going to say delete from employees. But this time, instead of from, we're going to do where. Then we specify a field. So let's have a look at our table. And we can choose to delete records on surname. So if we say delete where surname equals Brown, then it should delete any records that have a surname of Brown. Now, just to show that our example will delete more than one record, let's create a new record that has a surname of Brown. So let's step back out and then we'll do the utilities, table contents, create. Use a number of, let's make it 10, just to jump a few. We'll create Brown, give it an excellent first name of QWERTY, and it's a Mr. And let's choose 1st of January 77. Save that record. One step too far, then we'll view our data. And there's our brand new record with the surname of Brown. So now let's get onto our code and delete all the Brown records. So here we have delete Z employees where specify the field, which is surname, and we'll say equals Brown. Then we'll check to see if the records were deleted successfully. And we know in this case we're going to have 2 records. And we'll leave the clear in there just in case we need it later on. Pretty up the code, check the syntax. Oops. I do apologize, I got the syntax wrong. The delete statement, in this case, we actually say delete from Z employees. So delete from table name where the field equals and the contents of the field. Do a check. And we activate. And then let's do a test. Now we already have, let's have a look, 6, so we'll delete that. Because our program will recreate it. Scoot that across to the side, set our breakpoint, and then let's test our code. Let's bring the table in, refresh, there's our 6, we have the 10 and the 1. So we will go step by step again. So see here, our Z employees, oops, need to get the field name correct. And of course it's Z employees, so I'm well out. WA employees, Z employees. Is it employee? Oh, let's have a look. I'll scoot up a little bit, make sure I get the field correct. WA employees, employee. There we go. So, if we step through, this one record, this one statement should have deleted both records. We know it was successful because sy sub rc is 0. Come back, have a look at our table, do a refresh. Hopefully 1 and 10 will disappear, and they do. And then I will just zoom to the end of the program. And there we have our output. Let's take this breakpoint off. So that's the second form of the delete statement, where you can use logic. Now the last thing I just want to mention is that if you use the delete statement in the following form, here we go, delete from Z employees. This form of it is what I said earlier you need to be careful about, because this will delete all the records from our table. That wraps up the delete statement.